Good evening. It is Monday, January 15th. See what shakes loose. Good evening once again, and this is Black Spring with Autumn on your Monday, January 15th. January 15th, that is. Hope you guys are doing well out there. And before we get started, as always, we want to be mindful of our status in these times. All right. Well, thank you once again for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. And we're going to get started. Now, I don't have a ton here, but I am going to tell you where we're going to start. I just have, there's mainly one piece that I want to share right now. And it's more of a surveillance kind of a surveillance kind of a notion that we've been talking about for some months, or we've been skating around a little bit, but when we see things, we've heard about it from the car industries, from your PDs, uh, yeah, from your PDs. So let's go for it right now. We're gonna start with a liner that we used the other night. But this one, you won't be completely surprised on this one. This is again from the leoholman.substack.com, and is talking about automobiles and, of course, surveillance. Now, we've talked about this. We found some legislation in the past, I think, in some of these energy or these green legislations that we've seen, but I want to talk about this one specifically right now. We've talked a little bit about Ford adding, the capability for auto repos or semi-auto repos. But today, let's have this one, that soon your car will soon use surveillance cameras with, you guessed it, facial recognition. Now, I think we all knew this was coming. Okay, so facial recognition software to allow you to operate it. Now that's up in the ante a little bit, right? It's all being pitched as a matter of safety, security, and convenience, but beware the dark side. Okay, so let's go into this one. See, you have a nice little wood grain here in your little cockpit, if you will, for the lack of a better phrase, here in your dash. Look what you have here. So let's keep going here. So it says new digital technology is coming to the automotive industry that will soon require you to submit to a face scan in order to operate your own car. Okay. All right. So Biometric Update reports that a technology company called Continental has developed an external display and biometric camera to be placed on the outside of vehicles for facial recognition and, quote, aliveness detection. Liveness detection. This will allow a vehicle's, quote, authorized driver, end quote, to open and start the car automatically without keys or even a remote key pod. Unveiled at the world's largest tech conference, CES 2024, the so-called face authentication display also includes internal cameras and is equipped with liveness detection from biometrics provider Trinami X. We're into the X's, right? Exponentially into the X's in these days. What is it with 2024 and these X's? A subsidiary of BASF. A press release describes how the vehicle's interior camera is located behind the driver display console, purportedly an industry first, while the exterior camera for facial authentication and keyless entry is mounted in the vehicle's B pillar. Quote, the biometric authentication system from Trinamics can recognize real skin, which adds a layer of liveness security against mask and generative AI deepfakes, end quote, the press release states. Having two cameras also opens up more user settings and preferences, allowing, for instance, every member of a family to open a car, but only a verified adult to start the ignition via face recognition. Wilfred Arams, I presume, not sure the origin here, director of consumer electronics for North America and Europe at Trinamics, says the integration of company's biometric face authentication system, quote, ensures the highest security standards in both the exterior and interior, end quote. He further noted that, quote, together with Continental, we are improving existing driver monitoring systems and thus ensuring better interaction between the driver and the vehicle, end quote. Driver monitoring systems. No thanks. This is another step towards transhumanism, which is the merging of a man with his machines. The tech proponents always pitch their new and ever more invasive biometric digital technology from the perspective of safety and convenience, never address the fact that with each new advancement in tech, you lose more control over the machine than you supposedly own. At which point does this machine own you rather than the other way around? Share comments below if you like these reports. Of course, you can subscribe to the Leo Holman Substack.com. So it's a little bit interesting. Have you guys heard of this technology? Hello. Let's see. Let me read a couple comments here. Thank you guys so much for coming in. It looks like John Roberts is here. John Roberts is here. How are you? Thank you so much. He says Chicago has turned into a Tesla graveyard during this cold snap, aka polar vortex. Interesting. And he says, John Roberts continues. He says, will this keep ugly people from driving? Hope so. Yeah. Gary Gage says, looks like a big old 19-inch screen. Yeah, I would imagine, what could go wrong here? What could go wrong? Are you guys familiar with these companies? I'm not familiar with, for one, I'm not, who knows what else is being presented at the CES 2024, because the face authentication display is already, I think, something that's, it's facial recognition for phones. I think that's already, they've been just kind of, a gradualistic process in this transformation, I believe. Let's see. Hang on one second. Let's look in here real quick. Okay, so usually when I run into these, you have all these hyperlinks in here. It's usually takes us to, it gives us a little bit of an opportunity to kind of delve into who are these people and who's the man behind the curtain, shall we say? Okay, so here we go. Biometrics update.com, Trinamics X, GmbH. Okay, so I'm not familiar with this either, but it's it can be a bit of a rabbit hole. But it looks like this is actually a German company. Why does this not surprise me? Just saying. Okay, hang on one second here. So I'm going to put the link out here just for a second. Touche. Gary Gage says, I think my grandpa fought a war against these very people. Yeah, it's like, as what did I say? I said, there was an article that I read earlier this week or last week that said, do all roads lead to Rome? And I do believe, in some regards, but everything kind of goes back to conflict or some civilization that has already fallen to these same ills, right? Or we just kind of keep coming back to history, where it kind of reminds me of where they say that the winner always writes history, and the losers, you know, we're still under subversion, right? So hang on one second. So I may have one other bit here for you. Okay, so I think a lot of people are. Let's go ahead and. It seems like we're all dealing with a bit of some type of weather right now. Do we have this every year? Is it getting to be a pattern here when we have these winter storms slash, I don't know, do I want to say snowmageddon threats? I don't know. How's the weather in your guys' neck of the woods? I'm just curious. Very, very, very curious as to what's happening. As far as, east and, flooding in one area to the west, freezing, it's just, there's a lot going on. But yes, I didn't want to take up a ton of time. Of course, I think the selection season is really ramping up, as well as the weather, as well as all of the afflictions, all of the cooties, for the lack of a better word. I don't know. Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. I am going to put this pendulum out just for a second. Just for a second. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It was kind of at the 11th hour, but we've talked about this before. All the things that are coming to the auto industry, everything from, autonomous repossessions, semi-autonomous repossessions, infrastructure or things built into legislations that's going to require more surveillance. We've talked about that on this channel, without a doubt. So this technology doesn't surprise me. It's probably already there. If you know somebody that's driving one of these souped up vehicles, I don't know somebody mentioned Tesla in here. I'm not sure what the features are on those vehicles, or who would be the first ones to roll it out. I don't know if it'll be Ford. It looks like, maybe not Ford, not quite Ford. Let's see. Okay. I think I had one other little piece here. Well, this is delving back into something else. So this is kind of getting into the alphabet soup group. I've talked about, you guys, I'm sure you've heard it in the news. There's developing coverage of the Iowa caucuses on Fox News channel right now. I'm not sure if this is correct this is older, so we'll see. But here we go. So this is the other thing. So that California, not too long ago, I told you guys about the things that are going to be rolled out this year, but to add insult to injury, California state health insurance is going to cover sex changes for illegals. So, I don't know what, can 2024 get more bizarre? I mean, is it possible? Just let me know, the people's pendulum's out there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to that particular piece. So yeah, California is just going dripping with the dripping. Okay. Drip, drip, dripping. So let's share that one really quickly. So your tax dollars, they're staying in the news for a lot of different things right now. So let's see. All right. So according to this, the California state health insurance to cover sex changes for illegal immigrants. Nearly 700,000 legal immigrants between 26 through 49 will qualify. Okay. All right. So we might see what these talking heads are saying, but first let's look at it. The Golden State is expanding its massive healthcare system this year, which means more taxpayer dollars will fund sex change surgeries for state residents, regardless of their citizenship status. See how this is how they create these groups? to me, this is another level of their intersectionality. So it's you're a protected class or whatever. Okay, so not only are you an illegal immigrant, but you are also a part of another protected class, which, before you know it, you're a part of 500 different little special classes. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. According to a memo first circulated in May 2022 and reported by the Daily Caller Foundation, California's Medi-Cal covers costs for hormone therapy and procedures, quote, that bring primary and secondary gender characteristics into conformity with the individual's identified gender, including ancillary services such as hair removal incident to those services, end quote. Nearly 700,000 illegal immigrants between the ages of 26 and 49 qualify as of January 1st for these federal health care services, which will cost California taxpayers an estimated $3.1 billion. For those living in California illegally within this age range, it translates to approximately $4,058 per year in medical coverage subsidies funded by the state's general fund. Quote, gender affirming care is a covered Medi-Cal benefit when medically necessary. Well, look at these terms, end quote. The memo states, quote, requests for gender affirming care should be from specialists experienced in providing culturally competent care to transgender and gender diverse individuals and should use nationally recognized guidelines, end quote. All right, so it goes on here. It says the memo adds that, quote, medical necessity, end quote, is determined, end quote, and services shall be recommended by treating licensed mental health professionals and physicians and surgeons experienced in treating patients with incongruence between their gender identity and gender assigned at birth, end quote. From December 1st to December 31st, over 302,000 migrants were documented attempting to cross the U.S. southern border, the highest total for a single month ever recorded. It also marked the first time monthly migrant encounters surpassed 300,000. A recent report from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, shows a significant rise in the number of undocumented immigrants not held in detention. It went up from 3.7 million in 2021 to almost 4.8 million in 2022 and nearly 6.2 million in 2023. These are illegal migrants with final orders to leave or who are in the process of being removed but aren't held in ICE custody. Quote, in California, we believe everyone deserves access to quality, affordable health care coverage, regardless of income or immigration status, end quote. Governor Newsom's office reportedly said in a statement, quote, through this expansion, we're making sure families and communities across California are healthier, stronger, and able to get the care they need when they need it, end quote. So, yeah, according to this, Newsom announced California would begin providing healthcare coverage to additional illegal immigrants on top of the 1.1 million already in the Medi-Cal system. More than 1/3 of California's shrinking population of 39 million is enrolled in the Medi-Cal program. California has been incrementally adding illegal immigrants to the Medi-Cal program since 2015. That was the year it made undocumented children eligible. 4 years later, it added adults 50 and older. So you can kind of see where that's going, right? If you're not sure, it's oh my gosh, Gary Gage says immigrants for hair removal. Well, what is it? Medical necessity, these terms is I don't know. Okay. Gary Gage says, I'm disappointed in the electric car industry. I can't understand why they didn't just continue the electric cars we had in 1999. Just for kicks, is there anybody out there that drives a Prius? I mean, I'm not a fan of the hybrid cars. I've driven a couple different hybrid cars, and I'm just not. I don't like the. You can tell when it's switching its modes. Like, to me, you see a stoplight, and then it switches over, or it downgrades to whatever the lowest energy consuming or the most eco-efficient mode is for the time that you're sitting there. But I don't know. I mean, these charging stations, I'm hearing that they take up to 2 hours to charge your vehicle. So if you guys are on board with that, good luck on your distance trips. Good luck with that. So yeah, that just mostly about there's a lot of news out of California related to what they're rolling out this year. But unfortunately, some other states are going to follow, or either if they haven't done it already. Okay, let's take a quick little break. Like I said, this is going to be a brief little stream here. I don't know if you guys are following the selections that are going on right now. Not sure, but a lot going on there. So let's take a mini little break and I'll be right back. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Okay. All right. So once again, I always thank you guys so much for coming in. There's, like I said, I could go many ways. It should be called Spore News. We always start at one place and we end up somewhere else. But there's tons going on right now. Yeah, a lot, just like the culture war. There's a lot of culture war kind of, little wars going on. But I don't know. We've talked about the Davos situation. I think that's revving up. That's revving up for Wednesday, I believe. And maybe we'll keep an eye on that. That'll certainly be one to watch. But I just kind of wanted to come in with these lines at best, because I have a lot more. But like I said, it gets to be a little bit heavy. And it is Monday. It is your Monday. So yes, once again, and I could, like I said, I could go many different ways with this, but I just want to go a little bit slower. Oh, I have one little link for you. So I'm not sure if this was this. I would imagine this was this November. So let me show you a little bit of the link here. This happens to be the quote Blacks or African Americans out of I would imagine the Midwest or whatnot. So they're talking about the Black residents that are not happy with the illegals and that kind of a bit. So let's go there for a second. Who else is here? Gary Gage. I'm sure I'll do whatever I'm told I can do. Okay, so give me just 1 second here. I'll cue this one up really quickly. This is Fox 5. Let's see. Oh, Fox 5, which okay. So you guys, I've shown you guys a couple of these council meetings or whatnot, but apparently this is a little clip that I thought was interesting that it says that immigrants take food from locals. Okay, so we're going to nitpick everything, right? We're going to pick everything down to the bone, turkey trot or not. Okay, so let me show you this one, and then we're going to get out of here. I'm sure I could probably find little tidbits like this all around. So let me share this with you guys. Once again, I hope you guys are doing well out there. Let's see here. Sorry for the delay. Okay, so we're going to share this one instead. So this is actually from the Conservative Twins. I mean, I don't really follow them, but this was something that's kind of stumbled into my feed. So people are getting fed up with with what's going on, but what can you do? What can they do now? This is a part of the agenda, right? So here we go.
The butt of everything. Over the past year, they have witnessed 8,000 migrants move into their neighborhood, and they've also noticed the migrants are also starting to take their stuff.
They was first online for the turkeys this morning. The line is from over there to over here.
Free food. giveaways, especially during the holidays, have become a source of tension between longtime New Yorkers struggling to get by and newly arrived migrants who are using the system to survive.
We would never turn anyone away for a meal, but there simply just is not enough for both NYCHA residents and the migrant shelter residents.
Okay, you see what I mean? Like, this is the kind of thing that nobody. Yeah, the only reason I find this is interesting because I had no idea. Well, okay, of course they're probably telling them every single thing that's being made or given away, and then you have people showing up, people for the boroughs showing up thinking that they're going to be able to get in on this, and then they're getting this. It's really kind of sad. It really is. But I thought that was interesting that they went there with a whole Thanksgiving meal. And I'd imagine the same thing happened with Christmas when they started giving out toys or all this give. And I'm sure they ran out. So I mean, for people to act surprised, I think that's probably the only funny thing about it, is that for anybody to act surprised as to what's going to happen in their neighborhood, what's coming to your neighborhood, what's coming to dinner, what's coming in your neighborhood. All right, guys. Okay. All right, guys. So like I said, I just wanted to come in for a second. Like I said, we could probably binge ourselves. We could gorge on all the craziness. And there's some other things brewing related to MLK and people challenging that. So that's a whole nother story. But I won't get into it on this stream. But I will say, I will catch you guys later. If you have any requests or if you're interested in being a guest, come on, go on to blackspringwithautumn@gmail.com. All right, guys, I appreciate it so much for all that you do, and have a great rest of your Monday. Hang on here. I got one. Let's see, one little comment. Okay. Love to you too, Gary Gage and Gary Galuska. Nice to see you as well. All right, guys, take care. Until next time. Stay warm out there.